Hey all, welcome back to another hardcore episode from Mudstomp. As you will no doubt notice, I am in a new world. I've currently just started loading it. Computer's still struggling to load stuff at the moment, so we're just giving it some moment to pause and so forth. Also, I'm sharing the seed with you. I'll explain that in a second. But just to catch you up on a few things. Number one, I'm re-recording the audio for this because, like a bit of a dimwit, I did not turn my microphone on last night when I recorded this fresh. So I'm now the next morning recording again to get the audio going, or to talk through this basically. And you may hear some stuff in the background for that because it is the morning and everything's awake and doing. So we'll see what happens there. But to catch you up on a few things. So first things first, my last Hardcore World, an episode for that was a while ago. And the reason for that is that the world ended. Basically, I got up to about 1,300 days, and I made a boo-boo in the end. And so the world's sort of finished there. I may do a follow-up episode on that yet, just to basically show how far I got with everything that I was doing at the time when it finished and things like that. I think I built a few more structures and things, so the map was probably a little bit more entertaining in that way, but we will see how we go. Yeah, other than that, I did take a sort of a bit of a break because I was getting a bit frustrated with it all and things like that. So apologies if you've been waiting for another episode, but I'm hoping to be a little bit more regular now with them. Just a small note, you'll notice that I'm just collecting hay bales here, not getting wood. I don't like acacia trees, so I hate collecting them in a lot of ways. So I just thought I'm going to grab food here and then move on. So yeah, hay bales is obviously quick, easy food source. So that was that. So getting back to this scenario here at the moment, what's the plan, essentially, that kind of idea. So I was in the process of updating to 117 so I could do a shulker farm on the previous world, and I was eventually going to go to 118 once I'm in the shulker farm because I wanted to do the warden and things like that. Yeah, so now I'm on a 118 world straight up, starting fresh. I've decided to go for a different sort of approach with this. Number one, and there's my first advancement, yay. So number one, this is in link of what you're seeing here now. I plan to try and get an advancement done every sort of recording if I can. So what I'm going to do, instead of doing episodes and cutting things down, I'm just going to do a live play for the most part. Obviously if I AFK for something or whatever, I'll skip big chunks like that, but largely I'm going to just show you the journey of which I'm going through, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. I'm just going to try and not say too much. That's the benefit of this recording, because last night I said a lot, but we will see how we go. Yeah, so one goal is to get an advancement done each time if I can while I'm doing a bigger recording. So the recordings will be an hour to 3 hours long depending how I go. And I will try and do an advancement. I am going to attempt to make a farm or upgrade a farm in every recording as well. So for argument's sake, in this particular recording, I've already done those two things. I've replanted seeds, getting myself an advancement, and having that farm there ready to go, just in case I have to come back in this direction or I'm in this area and I can reharvest it. Obviously, I will get more advanced farms going. And on that notion, I'm going to actually be looking to do much more advanced setups on things, so that essentially my aim is to spend half an hour at a farm and get a lot of what I need, rather than having to come back all the time. Usually a lot of my farms are very slow going type things, so I will have a drip feed of something coming in over many days sort of business. But I want to make big farms where it's like boom, half hour I've got a lot of resources sort of stuff. So I am definitely looking to sort of pull it together on that one. You can see I'm grabbing a map here. I decided that it would be good to have a map to know A, where I am, and B, I might be able to use the other two maps to do things in the future depending, and obviously the paper to expand on the map as well. So that was the idea behind that. I'm also looking to grab any resources on my way here because I'm not going to settle in this area I still haven't figured out where, but as you'll see later in this recording, part of what I do is I head off in a west direction and try and figure it out from there. So yeah. So what else have we got going on? I'm just trying to think through some of this. Yeah, so as I said, 2 goals: farm advancements. Building big farms is the idea, so eventually it will be upgrading smaller farms to bigger farms will be the sort of gist of it. I'm also looking at, I want to stick away from a village for my base. I've always sort of been near villages and that, and I kind of want to do something different this time, and I don't want to do a castle type structure because I do that a lot too. So last one obviously had the big wall, which I am very proud of. I was very happy with that wall, so that's one of the bigger disappointing points of losing that map. But anyway, just now I'm seeing coal on this. I'll get back to what I was talking about, and the first spot of copper. I've never ever mined copper before, so this map is the first time, and this is where I decide that, yeah, I think I'm going to set up here temporarily just quickly to get some copper and coal. I have no idea what I'm going to use copper for in the future, but I thought I'll just grab some and make a start on it. So yeah, as I said, like I want to get away from the village sort of mentality and whatnot. It's sort of thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking, to be honest, with the base. But what I do want to think about is aesthetics. Often my bases, you know, I'm hugely in-resourced and I have blah 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 going on, and then I finally go, okay, well maybe I'll build a house, or maybe I'll build this or whatever. I don't want to do that this time. This time around, I want to build things as I go. So I am going to be looking to get massive amounts of building done all along the way, trying to get things aesthetically pleasing, and I will probably aim at, basically, if I start a task, I'll focus on finishing that task and get that building structure done or whatever in a few sessions, let's say. Obviously that'll be a bit of a problem too, because getting an advancement and a farm and a building done in a session is probably not going to happen. So I'm probably going to, any day where I actually spend a significant amount of time on building, and there's my second advancement, I'll probably just focus on the building and not worry about the farms and that too much, unless it's a smaller farm. I mean, it could be something like, you know, a concrete farm or whatever. I've done a setup for that recently that was really small and handy. So yeah, and I want to definitely get a lot of different things on some good supplies. So once again, I often sort of leave a lot of it till late. I want to do as much of it early as I can. So wool farms, concrete farms, terracotta farms, dye farms, these sorts of things as quickly as possible. I'm also, on that notion, I am not going to limit myself from duping TNT. Previously, I've been big on AFK fishing farms, and I've always avoided duping TNT. But this time around, I'm going to allow myself that one cheat, if you will, to dupe TNT so that I can do Psycraft style machines. So world eaters and things like that, because I want to really try to have some big cleared off areas, gather lots of resources that way. Being one person in these kinds of worlds, getting enough stone and all that can be really insanity, basically. So yeah, early on, I also want to say, on that note, early on I want to get above the nether roof. I've never done that before in a hardcore world, so that's something I'm going to focus on too. The idea being that I can do a proper gold farm and probably a hoglin farm for food. Because I'm not focusing on AFK fishing, I'm not going to have lots of fish around for food, so I'm going to look at the hoglin farm, I think. That said, I also want to find a really good spot to do a giant fish / ink farm. So yeah, wherever I find that spot, that's where I'm going to probably build a bunch of other farms, like an iron farm and so forth. So it's, yeah, these are all beginning plans, but we're going to figure it out as we go along. So I'm hoping to, yeah, make it, you know, somewhat entertaining and somewhat interesting. So this is the first time too that I start to see sort of the little cave systems that keep getting developed all over this map. As you'll see in the near future, I end up with a lot of different little cave systems that really draw my eye and cause me to want to really explore and whatnot. Unfortunately, they're not, they don't prove to be particularly useful at this point because I don't have the resources. So, you know, like armor and so forth. So anyway, I went to explore this one, and of course a creeper comes out straight away, and I don't have blocks on my bar, so that's why I'm running away. And yeah, it could have all been over right here. Fortunately, it wasn't. I tried to avoid killing this golem too because I didn't want to really. I didn't want to get him in the beginning place. Although I find it interesting that he didn't attack the creeper just then. That's rather annoying. I'm trying to think if he attacks this zombie or not. I don't think so. Anyway, so I got myself locked in safe there and decided to sleep the night away for this one. And again, I'm kind of just trying to take it cruisy. As you can see, I've got 4 advancements now. Okay, there you go. So this recording session, if you will, is making up for probably some future recording sessions where it's going to lag a bit on the advancements and that, particularly early on. Finding the right details and whatnot is just probably not going to happen. So anyway, following that, I decided to switch beds because I like the orange more than the red. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to go around the rest of the village in a second just to try and see if there's anything else I want to grab. Knowing that I've just been past a couple of huts. Basically the huts in the top right, if I remember correctly. I think I go and check that now to make sure. I'm not very good at planning all this, I think. I also found there's a lot of glitches going on in here at the moment. I'm not sure if this is just a 118 thing or what, because obviously I had the half door and the half bed and that with the farm in the village before. And then here, just having seeds and all that sitting around, I find it a bit odd. But yeah, anyway, I'm just going to go with it. I don't like savannas, and I don't like savanna villages, so that's why this is not going to be my home. Otherwise, it would have been probably that I would have just stayed here as a start point and just be done with it. I do want to use spawn properly. I want to have a actual, I don't know, I keep thinking of like an arena type thing. That's what I keep setting up on previous maps, but I don't know if I'll do an arena this time. I might just try and flatten the area and build something nicer, but yeah, it's sort of just, I don't like the redwood. I don't like all sorts of things about the savannas and acacia woods and all that. So yeah, this is why I'm just moving on from here eventually. I might also add that wherever I do build, I think I'm going to try and like heavily mob proof via things like slabbing, carpeting, these sorts of things. So I don't know how that's going to go, to be honest. In Hardcore World, obviously you've got to be extra careful because if you leave a spot open, you could end up with a bunch of, well, a couple of mobs spawning, but in particular, really hard to deal with mobs spawning in particular areas. But that's okay. I'll get it figured out. So yeah. Alright, let's keep going and we'll see where we end up from here. You'll notice here too I start to do a little bit of inventory management. It doesn't get too heavy right at the moment, but I have started contemplating that my inventory is getting very full. And to be honest, obviously I want to keep as many of these beginner resources to keep me going, so things like the sugar canes, the melon seeds and so forth. I do want to have a farm for basically everything, so but in particular food types and trading items, and I want to get them up to a level that's particularly useful for trading because again, not having the AFK farm, gonna grab some emeralds there just for early trading hopefully, not having the AFK fish farm means that I'm not going to have that sort of early access to mending books and things like that and whatnot. I want to get into doing as much as I can of the sort of armor development and whatnot through trading. I've gotten a little bit better at doing trading in my last world, but again, as it was sort of coming to an end, I was setting up for what do you call it, zombifying villages and curing them and stuff. And yeah, that would have been nice to get there finally. And this is my first interaction with a hostile mob. I couldn't believe it that a Enderman just jumped in there from nowhere. I don't even know how that's possible to a degree, but he must have spawned underground and jumped up, I guess. The other thing is I'm checking the compass out here because, believe it or not, I'd forgotten how compasses work. I haven't used one in so long. So I was just checking coordinates and seeing how they go and confirming that that was the house that I started near. So I definitely have covered most of the structures here. Again, there's grass inside here and stuff. I'm seriously wondering what's the gist with this. It must be some sort of 118 bug. I also decided to skip over the pig there because I thought getting one pig and getting one pork chop is really not going to be anything that useful. So I'd wait until later, or possibly use him for a farming possibility later down the track. I also didn't recognize these stalks, so I grabbed them. They just ended up being melon seeds again, but that's cool. Getting 3 melons to start off with is going to be good stuff, I think. And yeah, this is about the time when I start to sort of recognize that maybe I'm surrounded by a lot of savanna and I need to sort of figure out where I'm going to go. I do want to collect a bit more oak wood on the way because obviously wood's handy to begin with, but also I'm just trying to figure out what's the best, what do you call it? Having a total mind blank today. This is really shit bad. To be honest, I'm quite tired after last night. I recorded for about an hour or so, and then went to bed late. And then kids kept me up all through the night, so it was all sort of a bit rough, unfortunately. But anyway, so yeah, about now I think is when I decided to sort of head west, and just to sort of give me something to aim for. Seeing more sugarcane on the horizon, I thought I'll get the sugarcane again, just to start off a stronger farm early on with them. I'm using the word farm a lot today, that's what I've noticed. But yeah, at this point too, you might have noticed or just heard, there's some lava bubbles going on. So I've decided to have a look around for that. Unfortunately, didn't really find it. I did sort of wonder whether it's worth knowing where lava is right at this point or not. But yeah, it's sort of, there's nothing up here, so I'm thinking it must be down underneath somewhere. That's when I found this little cave system, which I was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. This is something cool to have a look down. And again, this is sort of one of my first sort of exposures to something like this, which I thought was quite cool. It was like just a nice little underground water section, but yeah, it's sort of, well, it didn't lead to much, I guess you would say, but I did want to look further into this one, I think it was, but basically it just starts getting very underground, very dark, and again, I don't have basically anything that you would want to be doing this with, so it was nice to sort of check it out. I've noticed too, a lot of these, I'm seeing coal for sure, I'm seeing copper quite a bit through this recording, but iron was definitely rarer than I would anticipate, so that was kind of a bit frustrating. It does sort of make it feel like that beginning off your, what do you call it? You're going to have a harder time getting to that medium tier armor, if you will, the iron. But then it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's sort of, it doesn't change end game, it just changes the beginning phases in my mind, which is kind of a little frustrating I mean, for me, it's very frustrating at the moment, having to start with all new gear and everything, so it's sort of like, oh, it's going to take longer than I want it to. But yeah, largely speaking, I don't think it's necessarily changing the game hugely. Then again, of course, if I remember correctly, iron can spawn up on mountains really well or something. So if I ever get around to, oh, excuse me, finding a mountain, I might get that iron. But anyway, so like I said, I was just sort of having a look at this, and I decided to test out to mining this coal, and this is sort of when I started to really remember how short breathing goes for. Obviously, again, when you've got all the gear and that, your breath lasts quite a long time. So this was sort of like a little mini panic for a moment there. I know it's only a heart and a half, but it was the kind of thing that made me think that maybe this isn't going to work. And I do have a reasonable amount of coal, but this is where I thought maybe if I've got the torches, I can go into this other area and have a look around a bit more. So yeah, again, it's just exploration at this point, trying to find out what's fun, what's possible, that kind of thing. I am kind of wondering if I hung around here long enough, whether the what do you call it? Can't think of the word. Undead, the water zombies. Can't think of their name. If they would spawn more, but yeah, I don't think it would necessarily lead to much. I was hoping to find an air pocket down here, but by the time I got down to this pure bubbles, I decided that was probably not going to happen. So again, I sort of decided, okay, this isn't for me right now. Let's just move on. And it, of course, too, like the inventory problem is probably my biggest one at this point because, well, it gets worse in a little bit, but yeah, without having a home to sort of stash a bunch of stuff in or anything, it's sort of a bit pointless. So yeah, and this is when I noticed that there was a plains over there eventually. So I decided that that would be a good point to head for. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was then that I decided to go west. And obviously finding pumpkins now, there's another resource for me to set up early on. So this is where it's kind of getting really fun because it's just, I've gotten a few different resources that I really want to have. So just to go over it again, I've got seeds for wheat farm. I've got pumpkins and melons for their farm. I've got, what else have I got? I've got an apple. Can't remember. There's something else I think I got in there, but yeah. So yeah, anyway, this is sort of fun. And two, I remembered at this point that you can kill fish just by hitting them, which sounds really stupid. Like, duh, of course you can. But that was the thing, I think, because I spent so long using AFK fish farms for getting fish, I never really killed a lot of fish by hand, except for when I was trying to get ink sacs. So it's sort of like that connection for my head isn't there. So yeah, this is when I sort of thought maybe I could stop for a minute and get some fish farmed. So yeah, and the thought being that I would get about a half a stack because then that's sort of 4 cycles of coal in a furnace, and you know it's a reasonable amount of fish. I will say too, I don't like hunting fish in water. I find it really irritating. Number one, I feel like I run out of breath all the time. And number two, I just don't like the inconsistency. I kind of feel like if you consider it from the perspective of, like you can one-shot a cow and a pig most of the time, and then you get into a fish thing. Now, obviously that's got to be a jump hit, but at the same time, you think a fish effectively has the same health as a cow or a pig. I mean, that's silly. I feel like it should be just like bonk and you're done. Um, you know, not even needing an axe or anything like that. I don't even know why I use the axe specifically, to be honest. I think it's just what I think to do, but yeah. So anyway, we're up to 7 fish, only another 25, 24 to go. So yeah. Just trying to think what else is there. I also thought too, with this ink sac, I would get a, I could change my bed to black. Now, I find out later on that you can't do that, which surprised me because I saw someone do it recently, but it must have been that they're on an earlier map or something, or in a modded world maybe, I don't know. That's probably in a modded world actually, come to think of it. But yeah, that's a bit of a frustration in my mind because it would have been nice to be able to do. I find that, oh excuse me again, I think that's one of the things that I would like to see change. I would like to see that they have the dying of things is made easier or less or something like that, because it's like you need 8 of one thing to die with 1 piece of dye, and it's sort of like, particularly early on when you're trying to get a black bed or something like that, it's kind of frustrating, I find. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, it's sort of like when you're trying to find sheep in a rush and you keep finding different coloured sheep every time. Now, not that that happens as much anymore again because you tend to get packs, but even still, like, it would be nice if you could sort of make it easier or something, I think. But yeah, so yeah, there's that. Where are we up to? 13 fish, still going. I feel like this just takes far too long. It's not really all that long when you think about it, I suppose, but again, the breathing's the big one that's sort of frustrating to me. And I suppose, again, like, it is a really good mechanic they've developed in a sense, because when you do get the turtle armor or you get the underwater breathing and so forth, you can stay down quite considerably longer than you would normally. So by that notion, it's sort of, yeah, it sort of fits, I guess. But yeah, I also like it too, like the underwater has definitely been developed since they had the aquatic update, with having all the seaweeds and stuff like that lying around and having more fish to... Really sorry about that, guys. It's been such a long morning. But yeah, I think that it's sort of, yeah, it's nice having a lot more to interact with under the water, definitely. So that's been a nice update. I do wish that it was just maybe something a little bit more there. I don't know what really, but you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful thinking, but yeah, I'm hoping too that they actually do something like this to the end at some point. I don't know what you would do there because they probably want it to be sort of that still desolate feel in a way. And I mean, the fact that you can farm shulkers now probably changes a bit there anyway, but it would be nice if there was maybe like another end tree or something, or an end flower. An end flower could be fun, a purple flower. Yeah. Anyway, so this is the first big underwater cave that I find in this series. And I gotta say, I was incredibly tempted to get this one going, to go down into it and have a look around. And I do have a swim in a moment, but it is huge and it is really um, not capable for it to be something that I can sort of enjoy at this point, unfortunately. I think that's the worst. One of the worst things about all this new update is that you just know that unless you've got your equipment and all that already, you're looking at a long wait to get into this stuff. And I don't know if this is symptomatic of the entirety of the world development, but I start to get this feeling that there is just like almost endless amounts of underground caves and that. This one here right next to me, I didn't notice it while I was getting the sugar cane, but eventually I stopped and looked down and realized that suddenly I have this ravine full of water next to me. And yeah, again, this is just, I think it's incredible, but I'm not sure if it's like everywhere's going to be like this. There's a block of lapis, for instance. That's cool. Um, yeah, or is it just that I happen to be in a particular area right at... Just thinking too, I've just remembered. Drowned is what we call water zombies. Oh man, my brain's so fried at the moment, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's like a... Yeah. It was cool having a look at this and seeing some coal and things, but to be honest, it didn't really give me anything that I sort of thought I've got really good access for, so I ended up leaving it for the time being. So, avoiding the thing there, I decided to have a look around at some of these other water areas. While the ravine underwater seemed fairly pointless, I was hoping that down here might have some air gaps and therefore maybe I could see how low I could go, could find a big open cave system. I saw my first glow squid, which was really exciting. I thought I'd get that, but then I realized that water versus air was going to be my enemy. So, once again, deciding that this isn't going to work out. So I've headed back up to land and basically made the decision from about this point that it's the hard decision in a sense, but that I don't really have a choice but to continue on foot and find a home, etc., etc. So it was kind of a bit frustrating in that way, but it was necessary to make sure that, you know, I was well prepared for when I do actually go into some of these underwater. Are they calling them aquifers, or was that the narrow ones? I can't remember, but anyway, these underwater areas. So yeah, it's at this point too, I think, where I started realizing that while I was heading west, indeed, that there was something I forgot, I think, back in the village, and I went, in a moment, I think it is, I turn around and go back. I have to have a look. This is the funny thing about commentating over the top of a video you've already filmed, sort of trying to remember what you were thinking about and doing and whatnot. I think my thought was that's right. I think what I was thinking about was that if I was going to end up in a cave system somewhere, that I would probably need some trees. Because ultimately, obviously, early stage of Minecraft revolves around trees a lot, and I thought if I have at least a couple of oak saplings with me, then I can go underground and not worry about coming back up if I don't want to. That kind of idea. So yeah, got that done well, not got that done, about to get that done. Heading back to the village to see if I can find some more oak saplings, I think was the thought I had at the time. The other thing is too, I thought about expanding the map because I'm running low on inventory space. So part of my thinking there was if I dump a bunch of stuff back at the village, expand my map and so forth, then I've kind of got like a bit more of an idea of what I'm doing and where I'm going, that sort of thing. But anyway, it's a kind of thing, yeah. It's a bit rough in a way, trying to figure all this out, I think, as you go. And this is, again, I suppose it's the excitement of a brand new map, just sort of trying to figure out where you want to be, what you want to do and stuff. But whereas with a sort of solidified map, you sort of know where you've been and there's limited options left to explore in a way, although you can go thousands of blocks easier and all that, of course. But anyway, I think the idea I was thinking with this one was I was going to go, yeah, again, backtrack, try and sort out my inventory and whatnot and go from there. So it's kind of funny too. You've only been going for half an hour and you're already feeling like you're getting lost, and you've only really visited sort of a few hundred blocks. So yeah, I think getting back on the map was sort of the big hope there, just to sort of figure out where I was going and stuff like that. So yeah. Also, at this point, I was sort of trying to confirm that I was back towards where that lava spot was. So it took me a moment to recognize that I was on the sort of other side of that. And I think that's too where I thought I might try and actually find that again, which I don't know. I kind of wonder how far you can actually hear lava popping from, because I knew it was this corner here. And there you go, you hear the blub blub again. But yeah, digging down sort of, I don't know, I think I kind of hoped I'd dig down 4 or 5 blocks and boom, it would be there, but it wasn't. So yeah, it's sort of, again, I don't know what I was really thinking in a way, because when you really consider it, like, it's not the safest idea to go for lava straight away, especially not at this sort of point in the game. No armor. I don't even have a shield yet at this point. So yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that possibly could be one of the biggest shifts for 1.18, possibly 17 as well, compared to earlier editions of Minecraft, that you don't just sort of necessarily walk straight into a bunch of iron in a cave system or something like that. Like that you have a lot more trouble getting going, as I said previously, or commented on previously. But I think in the whole of it, that's probably not the worst thing in the world, but it just kind of makes it a lot more interesting. It definitely makes hardcore Minecraft a little bit more stressful, I think, because I think it's not difficult in hardcore to sort of get moving in an earlier edition. But in this, yeah, it does make it that little bit more scary. Then again, it could just be that I'm in the wrong biomes. Like I said, I don't like savanna biomes, and this is partly why. I mean, finding lava is probably a relatively easy thing with the savanna biome, but finding other resources, yeah, I think it's just a bit more frustrating, to be honest. So, yeah, either way. And it's a shame too, in a way. This village was quite a large village, but it's just wasn't that useful, really, when you look at it in the end of it. And that's the thing, I think, that, again, I don't want to stay in a village, but just starting off in a really good village is really fun, and you get so many resources on that. I mean, I don't even think there was a blacksmith or anything. So, like, no armor, no higher grade weaponry. Again, I should have probably, thinking back on it, I probably should have killed the iron golem just to get 3 iron. Maybe 5. Would have just been a good start for things. But anyway, decisions have been made, and you live with them. So yeah. I'm kind of curious too, like, I must say from my experience of using the hoe in this run, I don't feel like it gives me... I kind of feel like you get more sticks than anything these days from trees anyway. And I don't think the hoe actually affects the rates in any way. It obviously, well, it seems to make it easier, but that's kind of about it, I think. Don't know. It's hard to say, again. But yeah. Again, it's funny watching yourself play again when you can't remember what you were thinking at the time. I was obviously talking the entire time while I was playing too, but, you know, without a microphone recording, who knows what our thoughts were. So again, I think this is a point where I've really sort of, yeah, I'm going to go out west and go further again, but the inventory situation is really concerning me a lot, I think. And it's sort of where I start to figure out how much am I carrying of different things that are useful or not. That sort of thing, like maxing my torches out to maybe use up more sticks, and so forth. I think this is the point when I decided to expand the map or something. Let me have a look. Yeah, because you got to get the map out of your hand. I hate that. I hate it when you're in a crafting table that you can't see what's in your hand. I feel like that's just a bit of a shortcoming, just for the whole sort of situation. This is another thing. I thought that the map carried through when you expanded on it. I don't know. I probably find out every single time that it doesn't, but I thought it did. And so that was a bit frustrating. So this is why I'm running back to the village now, because I want to see the village on the map so that I have a vague idea of where I am by comparison, which is, you know, probably not the most useful thing in a lot of ways, particularly because I'm traveling out for my own base. But on the other hand of things, if I do get to a point of wanting and needing a villager, and I can't find any, these will be the villagers I'll probably come back for. There is a heck of a lot of grass in this map at the moment. I don't get it. It's just crazy. Like I said, the construction for 118 seems to be a little bit bugged or something. I don't know. Could be wrong. Again, I went through my inventory just trying to figure out what I can use and get rid of and stuff. And this is the point where I tried to change the color of my bed to vast failure. I thought at this point, oh wait, no, I've got to change it to a black dye. Okay, let's try again. No, it doesn't work. So yeah, and I think that's when too I decided that I was going to sort of try and limit how much stuff I was going to take with me. This is the other thing too. I thought that maybe it's linked to recipes, like you got to get the recipes pinged in your book or whatever, which isn't the case. I mean, you can make everything without knowing about it beforehand, so to speak. But yeah, so that's when I decided to leave those behind because it's just basically useless. I can always get another ink sac at some point, and bone meal's much the same. Unless you got it in vast numbers, what's the point? So yeah, here I'm trying to just, again, create inventory space, so turning planks to sticks. I did initially decide to leave the cow stuff behind because I thought it's only one cow's worth. Again, not much use. But yeah, having a look at this, so you can see I've got pumpkins, melons, sugarcane, I've got wheat seeds, and I've got oak saplings. So I've got a few things to grow once I find out where I want to go. So I'm definitely developing a bit of process there for when I do find my new abode. Still not sure what that's going to be, to be honest. I don't know what I really want. Most of the time when I start a new map, I usually just sort of travel and see what I find. And that's, that's good. It works, but in the end of it, it sort of gets a little bit... Usually, yeah. I just see some structure that I think... I remember the early maps, I had an underground one. I saw a hovel sort of thing, like a hobbit home or something, if I just sealed over a little bit, so I decided to go with that one on one of them. There was another one where I had there was like a dirt spire in the sort of edge of a lake, and it sort of made me think of like an entrance gatehouse onto a castle or something, and yeah, so that was the one where... Which one was that? That was the season, I'd say, where I got blown up by a creeper, but that happened on multiple occasions in my first 6 hardcore worlds. I can't remember. I came out of that one across a bridge and planted some trees, and then boom, there was a creeper. So I was really just not with it there. And then there was another one where I got blown up with a creeper. That was actually where I travelled a bit and found a beachfront, and I thought I'd make a big beach hut. And I got the floor down, and then I went down into the cave system and got sort of surprised by 4 creepers and blown up again. So yeah. And then that was when I think I hit number 6 after that, and I had a village at an ocean side, and I really committed to putting walls up and stuff, and then something happened after that. I can't really remember. It's probably another creeper, to be honest. Something, anyway. Got me, obviously. And then the 7th map, I finally went, nope, I want a village. That's what I want. I liked having that in number 6, so I'm going to get a village again. And I found the village that became Hardcore 7 with the big walls and everything. And yeah, that was, again, another one where I put up an inner compound and an outer compound and then lit it all up to heck to try and make sure I was safe. And again, got rid of all the grass so that I didn't misconceive a creeper for a piece of grass, vice versa. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. So anyway, getting back to this, obviously I'm going west, and I've said west enough, I think by now. You should know this. I decided to get all the pigs on the way because I thought if there's a lot of them, then I might as well get some. So I've got a sort of a bit of a stash of food in the background. So at this point, I've got like half a stack of melon pieces, half a stack of bread, a stack of hay bales, and half a stack of raw fish, and obviously a quarter stack of pork chops now. So I've definitely got food handled for the next recording or two. Should hopefully be a couple of recordings worth, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure I'm ready to go. Excuse me. I must say though, with how readily I got the fish, I am tempted to actually do that a little bit more. Just to get a bunch more fish, have a couple of stacks ready to go. That'd probably last long enough, but at least till I get into the nether and can figure out how to do a hoglin farm on above the nether. I don't know how that'll go. But yeah. So then, here we go. So this is where this is our final sort of resting spot for this recording session. Essentially, I found this cave bit here, and I thought, well, I might as well give it a go. It's not got water in it, so let's try it out. I was a bit concerned early on that I'm stuffing around with the sheep, and maybe there'll be a lot of spawns in there by the time I get in, but that wasn't so much the case in the initial phase. But what was interesting, which you can kind of see in the top right now, but I didn't notice for a little bit, is that there's a spawner over there. So this was a zombie spawner that just appeared. Well, not just appeared. This is probably one of the first times in a long time I've found a spawner above ground, so to speak, and easily. I've had a lot of trouble finding spawners in the past, to be honest, so this was kind of cool to find one. Now, it is a zombie one, so it's not super useful, and in fact, I was contemplating later on in this recording whether I wanted to farm it a little bit to try and get a carrot. And I did decide against it, although I must say I am a little bit tempted to try it again, because if I can get a carrot off a zombie, then I've got absolutely everything that my farming delights could want. So yeah, this is when I sort of started going in, and at first I thought, oh, okay, and then there's like 3 or 4 of them, and I thought, oh, okay, yeah, maybe this wasn't a good idea. Plus, it's also almost nighttime, so I want to sleep. So it was a bit of a scare, but there's another advancement. So that's 5 advancements, and as you can see, there's a potato on the ground. So this is why if I could get a carrot, I'd have all my farming delights, because I now have a potato as well as all the other things. Really, honestly speaking, wheat, potatoes, carrots, and pumpkins and melons makes me very, very happy for it. And in here, there's the beetroot seeds. So that's the other one. So yeah, it was definitely sort of my favoured thought at this point that I'd have basically everything I could want for farming. I must say too, this was when I started realising that there is definitely a difference between the lighting potentials in 1.18 and previous versions. I feel like I didn't have to place down anywhere near as many torches, and it was definitely still as useful in that way. So yeah, it was quite curious in that sense and quite cool. So there's the coordinates if you were playing along with me and you wanted to know where this one was. So a bit of fun there. I also thought that this is the point where I thought I might try and settle here for a bit. I don't know how long. I did want to sort of run into the cave more, but I was thinking that I might need to see how this goes, try and figure it out. So yeah, I end up basically deciding to settle down for a bit, get some furnace going and things like that. So essentially try to process some of the stuff I'm carrying with me so that I can better carry it or whatever. And this skeleton proved to be my first little kind of moment for this season, mainly because of the fact that I don't have a shield. and I was I got stuck there a little bit. I was trying to back up and I got stuck. So yeah, but fortunately this part here was kind of cool. He just, for some reason, kept jumping up the way he did, and so it made it really easy to deal with him. So I was really happy on that. Obviously can't pick up the bone. And again, this is when I sort of decided that, okay, I need to dump some stuff out of my inventory if I'm going to play around here, and just try and figure out what I'm doing. So yeah, it was interesting. I'll put it that way. So yeah, and again, seeing coal and copper, so I'm kind of like, yes, all right, so we got some of that going. And I was starting to think about um, not how could I was starting to think that this might be a fortunate point that I can find iron because I don't have to worry about the water in the cave system. So yes, I was very excited at this point, and at the same time I was trying to figure out how do I pick up these arrows, because between the string and sticks I can make a bow, and then I've got a couple of arrows, and I thought that could be useful at this point. Not many arrows, but just, it's a starting point again. But yeah, so like I said, I have to settle in for this next bit. I've got about, I don't know, about 10 or 15 minutes left on the recording here. And basically I spend the whole time just, like I said, processing what I've got in my inventory and going down into the cave a bit, which we'll find out what I discovered in a moment. But yeah, so what I'm doing here is I'm just putting all the stuff down the bottom that I don't think I'm going to carry forward, and everything else that I want to keep I'm putting sort of up the top, as well as clearing out my inventory as best I can. It's just basically to just make sure I can pick things up, that kind of thing. I'm getting into a bad habit here too. I've just noticed I haven't thought about this while playing, but I don't have full health, and I've lost a little bit of my hunger bar, which the hunger bar part's good because obviously you can eat straight away, but not having full health while doing this is definitely not a advantageous thing. But yeah, again, I'm kind of noticing that like one torch seems to light up quite a bit more area, and I'm really not sure. It might also have something to do with the fact that my light settings have been reset. I used to play Season 7 when I started. I used to play with quite high brightness, and I started dimming it back after watching a etho video or something. And so yeah, I've started trying to sort of play on a bit darker. So a torch does actually do quite a lot when you play on a darker mode. But yeah, at the same time, it's been curious. I'll put it that way. So yeah, anyway, I'm working here. I'm trying to avoid the diorite because I don't want to pick up any diorite, and limit the number of things I'm carrying, basically, in that sense. But at the same time, I want to try and dig down here and see if I can find something. I can't remember if I could see it before or not. There's more copper. More copper. Yep. So yeah, just trying to sort of see if there's anything down here that I want. There's another glow squid, so that's kind of curious. And this is a limit of where I'm kind of like, do I want to go in? Do I not want to go in? It's sort of a hard decision until I see that up there. That is iron, in my opinion. At this point, it is definitely iron. I go and get it, obviously. But yeah, at the point, I wasn't 100% sure if it was iron because it looks so similar. It did seem to have that one color, so that was where I was like, okay, it must be iron. And again, I'm just trying to be extra cautious to make sure I can't. And there's a bunch more iron, so even more excitement, more copper and coal. So this is like, yeah, I'm kind of happy now because I'm starting to think, all right, I might have what I want. And the other part I'm trying to check, this freaks me out a little bit. I think this is probably the rarest mob I've seen in Hardcore before. As you can see, I was a bit worried that he was going to come flying up at me. As it turns out, it's a 2-block high gap down there, so I'm actually very safe up here. But yeah, this gold armored baby zombie chicken rider, like I said, is probably the rarest mob I've ever seen. So that's kind of cool. And I think he's even full armored. I'm not 100% sure. I couldn't see the chest piece quite well enough. But yeah. So at this point, I'm kind of thinking, this is cool. All right, so I'm going to get my iron. I'm going to get some stuff together. And then I can come back and maybe attack some of these mobs and whatnot and get further into the cave is what I'm hoping. I also did a quick head count in my head for the amount of iron I was gathering because I was thinking 1 for a shield, 3 for a bucket, 2 for a sword, and that'll be good. And then I think I realized I might have had one more, in which case I'm thinking there was some gravel back up further, and so I could do a flint and steel on the off chance that I want to do something with that, basically to get into the nether. But to be perfectly honest, I can't imagine that happening anytime soon, but I just wanted to have all my tools ready to go. So then, yeah, it's good stuff in that way. I must say too, I do actually like the textures that they've got going on now in 1.18, like with the coal and stuff. It sort of feels like it's blurry by comparison, but at the same time, I think it kind of fits more to sort of an original sort of format of, what do you call it? Original sort of style, not original, as in a real style of ores and things. So yeah, when I saw the witch on this point, this is when I decided that I wasn't going to go in there anymore. I was hoping to go down there, but I thought, no, I'm not risking it with a witch. So yeah, this is when it sort of becomes a thing of going, all right, let's just get what we can. We're going to, resource up, condense down what resources I've got, and then move on forward a bit further, I think. But yeah, that was the hope anyway. Unbelievably, this took forever to get this piece of flint. I was really annoyed. So yeah. So, ooh, I don't know if you just heard that, but I just had a massive thunder lightning strike right near my house, and yeah, the house shook. So that was exciting. Alrighty, so let's keep mining this and see where we end up. I must say, I do actually enjoy the fact that there's a lot of coal about. I just wish that coal was more useful, as far as I'm aware. I still don't... Yeah, I mean, other than a building block, I can't really think of what I'm going to use this for. I mean, the lightning rods, I will definitely do the lightning rods eventually, but I don't think they're that grand, I'll put it that way. So... Yeah, I think it's going to be the building blocks. And I will say, I do kind of like the blue, I think, having never seen that actually in face-to-face, so to speak. But I think that, yeah, I think I will make use of it in regards to the, well, like I said, the blue. I think I'm going to weather it and get as much of that done as I can. So, yeah. Getting rid of the granite, obviously, again, another resource I don't want to be carrying around at this point. To be honest, granite's not something I use a lot anyway. I think the only thing I really used it for in my last map was the tunnels under the wall. I think that was about it. So yeah. Anyway, this is starting to look quite full, and I think that's where I made the decision that I'm going to have to process a bunch of this stuff and sort of make hard decisions. Things like, for instance, the gunpowder's nice to have, but am I really going to use it anytime soon? And by the time I would use it, would I still need this 10 gunpowder? And to be honest, the truth is I don't think I would. I'll probably be, by the time I'm using gunpowder, I think I'll have done a creeper farm. That's definitely going to be one of my priorities. And this is, again, the problem with sort of thinking that I don't want to be near a village because I need cats. And I don't think... I'm just trying to think. I don't think you can get cats anywhere but around a village. Now, if you have villagers with you, I think you can get cats, so that would be okay. But still, yeah, I want a creeper farm very early on because the amount of gunpowder you can get out of it is just incredible. And I think, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, when I built the one in my last map, I think I did 3 layers. Double-sided 3-layer hourglass shaped one, and that was pumping out about a stack sort of every hour or so, maybe less, but I want to go with more than that if I can, so I'm probably going to end up doing like, I don't know, maybe 10 cells or something, 10 layers, something like that, which is 20 odd cats you need. You need the raw fish for that to breed the cats as well. Anyway, so this is the point where I started really sort of sifting through all this stuff and really checking exactly what I've got. As you can see, once again, just to summarize it again, I've got all my different food sources and all my different farm sources down there. And I decided to sort of try to develop some of these things into whatever I could. So the wheat I was hoping to turn into a hay bale. I forgot that you need 9, so I ended up just doing bread with it anyway. I'm not sure why I didn't do another bread with that, because that's 4 wheat. You only need 3, but anyway. I probably missed that in the process. Up to that, yeah, again, gunpowder is not particularly useful. I might take it if I can fit it in, sort of thinking. The copper, I start smelting the copper after I've smelted my iron, just to see where I end up with that. And I decide to turn it into copper blocks. And there's another advancement. So that's 6 advancements I think I did in this first recording. Which, I mean, I know they're the easy ones and all that. Everyone's going to do that pretty much. But it was kind of cool. So, technically speaking, I'm hitting my goal of advancements for the next 5 recordings. So that's cool. I might actually write this stuff down as I go along, keep track of it. But anyway. So there, I've got my shield, my bucket, flint and steel, and a sword, basically. So yeah, that was good to sort of get that covered and sorted out at the moment. If you can hear that, that's my young son in the background. He's playing, but I'm going to finish this off because I've only got a few minutes left. So yeah, my apologies if that disturbs your hearing. But yeah, when you've got children, there's just not much choice sometimes. Let's see, what else have we got? So yeah, raw copper, need to cook that with some coal. I end up going to mining the copper and the coal in the immediate vicinity, just to try and make sure that I've got everything I can, and getting close to sorting out my inventory there. So yeah. Just trying to think if there's anything else that's of importance. Probably not really. It's just sorting inventory, cooking things in the furnace, and mining some more bits and pieces and whatnot. So, yeah, next recording, I'm going to call it recordings as opposed to episodes, although much the same thing. You'll be coming back to find me roughly on top of this mountain, looking to the future of where we're going to go, and that will hopefully lead us to more success. I don't know what. We'll find out. Also, that's the other thing. I gather some more cobble while I'm here as well, waiting for all this stuff to cook, because I want to have a full stack of cobble ready to go. Not so much for a building or anything like that, but just for more tools and things. So yeah. Just, again, trying to think if there's anything else to sort of tell you about, but I don't think there really is. I think that was kind of about it, really. So, yeah, sort of, that was it. So, yeah. Alright, well, I'm going to sort of finish this up here. Like I said, I spent about another 15 minutes or so mining stuff and cooking things and that. Nothing much to see. And, yeah, we'll join back in next episode when I'm ready to move on and find my house of abode. So, thanks for watching if you've been watching this whole time. And if you want to keep me going, as always, leave a like, hit the bell, subscribe, comment, all these sorts of things. And if you are playing along with me, let me know how you're going. If you find something interesting at a particular coordinates or whatever, I am not open to that help. I'm not closed to that help, I should say. I am open to that help because I don't mind. I think this season is going to be about a bit of fun and just trying stuff out. So yeah, we're going to see how we go, how long I can survive for. And this time, maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll get to finish all the advancements and some other things in the process. So yeah. Alrighty, well, like I said, going to leave it there, and I'll catch you in the next recording. Mudstomp out.